Hey Bart, welcome to the Trucking Risk and Insurance Podcast. Can you take a minute or two and introduce yourself and your company?
You bet, Chris. First of all, thanks for having me. Glad to be here. I am Bart Teeter. I am the Director of Fleet and Operational Safety for Bot Auto. About the company, Bot Auto, we're a level 4 autonomous truck developer based out of Houston, Texas. We are building self-driving, like we like to say, humanless trucks that will operate initially in Texas on Interstate 10 between San Antonio and Houston, and then take over the world from there, I guess. But that's our initial route. These are 18 wheelers. Truck, tractor, semi trailers, Class 8 trucks that will drive themselves from point A to point B, delivering freight within our environment. My background, I spent 26 years with the Texas Highway Patrol, the last of which I was at our headquarters here in Austin, Texas, and became very involved on the regulatory side of autonomous vehicles as they came into Texas and started setting up shops. So, just my story. I started out, as most people do, a little skeptical about autonomy and taking drivers out of Class 8 trucks, but the more I was around it, the more I saw the potential of this technology, the more that I truly came to believe that not only is it a viable technology, but it's going to help us turn the tide in traffic safety. We have
Yeah.
we have a serious fatality problem on our highways in Texas. And nationwide, we lose 40,000 people to traffic crashes every year, and mostly due to driver error. So we feel like if we do this right, we do this safely, that this absolutely will improve traffic safety and save lives in Texas and across the country.
I'm in cautious agreement with that statement. But let's start off. You mentioned you are a level 4 autonomous company. For people who don't understand the levels, and I mentioned to you off camera, for example, I drive a Tesla, so I have a certain amount of that. And I think I have some degree of understanding of the different levels. But what are the different levels and what makes level 4 so exciting?
Well, the different levels, first of all, they come out of a publication from the SAE, Society of Automotive Engineers, SAE J 3016, for those that might want to go look. But there are 6 levels of autonomy, starting with 0, and that's your 68, 69 Camaro, that we had these kids and ran around and drove too fast. Nothing is automated, right? Moving up through level 1, level 2, various levels of what we would call ADAS, or automated driver assist systems, such
Right.
as adaptive cruise control or lane keeping, lane departure, one of that type of thing. Get into level 3, and that's what we're really talking about when you talk about the full self-driving and Tesla and others is, you know, can operate, do some of the things under human supervision. Level 4 is the ability to drive yourself, handle the vehicle can handle the entire driving task, steering, braking, decision making, all of that, but within a confined, what we call operational design domain, or ODD. And within that domain, that's several things. That's geography. That is, hey, we're going to operate on, I mentioned before, this stretch of highway between Houston and San Antonio. So certainly that's within the confines, but other things such as environmental factors, weather, traffic, heavy construction, heavy congestions, things that um, may render us unable to operate, or unable to operate optimally at a certain time. So we're going to opt not to operate. For instance, heavy rain, heavy fog, snow and ice. We're just not there, and we're not going to try to be there until we can master the sunshine, and then we'll master the rain.
Yeah. And now, so that's level 4. I mentioned I
Yes,
drive a car, and like many people, you mentioned lane departure assist and cruise control, the adaptive cruise controls. Those are all level 2 technologies, which is what I'm
correct.
used to somewhat, and many other people have them. I don't own a Mercedes, but I think every Mercedes, Cadillac, all those higher end vehicles would all have, the level two features. So you're talking two levels up. Why is that so exciting?
Well, it's again, so from the safety perspective, again, we're taking the human out of the equation. Again, most of our crashes, you look at 90+%, 95% of crashes are caused by human error. Somebody, I like to say, did something or didn't do something that caused something bad to happen. And so, if we can remove that humanness from it, and put in a driving system, the bot system that is 100% focused on driving all the time, 100% of the time, doesn't get distracted, doesn't get tired, doesn't get drunk, doesn't get high, doesn't get angry, all those things that humans do. We can take this, so it's exciting from that point. But also, when we start talking about, as a business case, obviously taking a driver out is going to, we're going to realize some cost savings, right? When you look at the big
Yeah.
costs in
Huge.
trucking, labor, fuel, right at the top. I mean, obviously, we're still going to burn fuel, although we feel like we're going to burn fuel more efficiently because we're going to have that easier braking, that easier accelerating. Our system is designed to be efficient. Our system is designed to be friendly. So we're going to have savings there. But then we're going to take if we take that driver out, we can deliver those goods right now. You think from uh, Houston to San Antonio at a much lower cost per mile than a human operated truck tractor or combination can. So that's why it's so exciting. Is we're going to be safer, we're going to save lives, but we're also going to save money. And we can build the best system in the world, but if it's not going to save money and make a business case, a good business decision for someone to use it, then it's going to sit on a shelf. So
Yeah.
we have
Yeah.
to kind of focus on both.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I mean, there's many things have to change. Legislation has to change, the rules of the road. Right now, it doesn't, as far as I know, allow for unsupervised trucks yet. Um, we've seen, I'm sure we've all seen the articles of humanless truck tests, but so far, as far as I know, and you confirm or change the story here, are your trucks? Do you have a truck on the road today?
So we have multiple trucks on the road today.
Okay,
Now, in most cases, um, almost every case, those trucks still have a person sitting behind the wheel.
right.
Even if they're operating fully autonomously, we do have what we call a safety driver or a fallback driver there, as we continue to validate our system. If you or your listeners want to go out and look on Bot Auto YouTube, check us out. There is a video of us out operating completely humanless on Interstate 10, but in the Houston area. We have done that. We have validated that we can do that, and so that's out there now. In Texas, for instance, there is absolutely no regulatory or statutory impediment to us operating autonomously. We could pull the drivers out tomorrow, and that's been the case since our very first autonomous vehicle law here in Texas in 2017. And that really, because of that kind of permissive structure that we have here in Texas, that's why all of the autonomous freight developers are here, even though a lot of them are headquartered somewhere else in Mountain View or Pittsburgh or Toronto. They're all operating in Texas because we're a great place to operate from a lot of reasons: weather, great freight routes, and a friendly regulatory structure. So there's nothing. I say there's nothing stopping us from pulling drivers out. What has stopped Bot Auto and what has stopped the industry as a whole from pulling drivers out is we want to be good corporate citizens, right?
Yeah,
We want to be good partners to everybody. And we understand that we have to get this right, and we will get this right. We prove out safety cases very far down the road, and we're like, okay, we're 97% sure that we can do this. And that's a pretty high degree of reliability, but getting that last three, that's the key. And we want our partners, our safety partners, our regulatory partners, and the public to understand that we're just simply not going to do this until we can do it safely and reliably.
right. And I mean, This is really exciting technology that's coming down the road at us. And it's going to help reduce prices for those of us who purchase anything, because if we can move freight cheaper, it's better for everybody. It's going to be disruptive for sure. But from you're talking to a safety guy, so from a safety perspective, what checks or how do you verify that you are as safe as you are saying you are?
Everything we do is about validation. We don't do anything on the highway for the first time. We do everything in a testing environment. That's a closed track testing environment. We partner. One of our partners is the Texas A&M. Texas Transportation Institute. They have a great facility that we go out. We use their facility to test everything that we're going to do. Um, and then we can come back and do it on a public road. And so we do that. We simulate everything we do before we open a route for autonomy. We will have driven that route thousands of times, and we will have simulated that millions of times. Again, validation is everything. We're constantly validating that our product is safe. And what we do is, we want to be transparent about this. We invite our regulators, we invite our enforcement um, partners, we invite those folks to come in and see what we're doing. We're an open book. You can come to us, we'll show you, we'll take you for a ride, anything you want to do. So we don't necessarily want you to take our word for it. We want you to take the word of those like again those safety partners, whether it be from the universities, whether it be from the regulatory bodies, or whether it be from the state police. We want you to come in and see and take their word for it.
I mean, to me, as I said to you off camera, I find this whole subject extremely fascinating. I don't know much about it other than it's coming in cars today, it's coming in trucks today. So it's going to keep advancing. What makes your company different than some of your competitors? Like Kodiak or Aurora.
I mean, I would love to just be able to just tell you, hey man, we're better, we're more awesome, and I
Of
believe that.
course you
But
are. You're on the show.
but they're great companies as well, and we've got a lot of friends over there at all those companies, of course, and we work together on a lot of projects. But what sets us apart is one, I think. Our people. We came into this game with when our founder CEO Dr. Shouty Howe put Bot Auto together. He went out and grabbed people with a lot of industry experience. This is, as we say in Texas, for most of the folks in the company, this is not our first rodeo. So people know what they're doing. One of the big things, and you can't underestimate this, Bot Auto is 2 years old. Right, we're a little
Oh,
about 2 years and a month, 2 years or whatever. We'll say we're 2 years old. And we've gone farther, faster than anybody else. And you can't underestimate the fact that we came to life as a company. We were founded post Chat GPT moment. AI advances have come so far in the last several years. Many of our competitors that you mentioned, they started under a kind of a different system, and now obviously they're out taking advances of it. Of the advances in AI to make their legacy systems better. But we don't have a legacy system. We have an entire system built on advanced AI, and that has allowed us to do it faster because we can do it all in one shot. We don't have to build different systems for perception, classification, and then meld those at the end. We can build that foundation model from the beginning, and it just has been quicker, it's been more efficient. What sets us apart also is we're small. I mean, we're under 100 headcount at Bot Auto. We are a small company, again, leaning on the technology to take us forward. One of the big things that we're so proud of is our money spend. We're in the $40 million range, which to the average American, 40 million is a lot, until you think that some of our competitors have spent literal billions to
yeah.
get where we are. And so we're very proud of that. And that's kind of the things that set us apart is our people, our technology, and the size and economy of our company. We're really happy where we're at, and we think we're doing great things.
Well, what makes you, I mean, some of your competitors literally have very deep pockets because they're backed by other companies. How do you go about, and this again just comes from curiosity, how do you go about getting funding for your projects? Because this must take, you've already said 40 million, but it's likely going to take millions more before it really becomes usable in the end. How do you get your funding?
I mean, great question. I mean, we're a we're a tech startup. We get money like tech startups do from venture capitalists,
Yeah,
VC type individual and company investment in our product in return for equity in the company. And we've done that on a seed or kind of pre-A round level, and now we're moving into we'll have to move on to the different rounds of funding and see where that goes. We're you know continually
it's an
talking about
exciting
how we're
time.
going to raise money. It is right, and then ultimately, you get money. The holy grail could be public, going public, as just as Kodiak has recently done. um, Aurora did some time ago, and then you get that influx of cash. But that's down the road. Right now we're working with great investors, and again, because we burn so little cash, we can take our time, be selective, and choose the right partners, and that's the process that we're constantly engaged in.
All right, so you said you can take your time in for the funding model, perhaps, but I don't think you can really take your time in developing the technology because of the number of competitors that you have, all trying to develop similar technologies, right? So, when do you think this is going to become, I don't know how to say it exactly, but more mainstream? Or when when I go to buy a Kenworth or a Peterbilt or whatever truck you want, when's it going to be already on the truck?
So that's coming, obviously. And again, we talk about our competitors, and I like to tell people all the time that, yes, they are our competitors. The Auroras, the Kodiaks, the Torques of the world. We at Bot Auto are competing with them. We think we're building the best product, but we don't need them to fail for us to succeed. There is so much excess freight out there right now. There's the capacity for us is out there. We talk about an 80, 100,000 plus driver shortage. There's no shortage of business. So we just concentrate on building the best product that we can. When do I think this will be out there? From a Bot Auto standpoint, commercialization obviously is the goal. We want to have 1,000 Bot Auto trucks out there hauling freight, hopefully, in the not too distant future. But our promise, and the answer I give is we will do that when we are ready, when we can do that, not just safely. Again, back to your earlier question, from our perspective, but when our safety partners, when our regulatory partners come in and say, okay, yeah, absolutely, you have our faith and confidence. We're still building confidence with the general public. As far as being able to go to the Kenworth dealer or the Peterbilt dealer or the Freightliner dealer, and buy a truck that's equipped. That's coming. Many of our competitors in the industry have OEM partnerships, and they're working with that they're going to come out, and I feel like that's coming in the next couple years. We are not there at Bot Auto yet. We don't have an OEM partnership. We go buy Freightliners off the showroom floor and retrofit them in house. And so, but that's coming. I would say in the next certainly 5 years, and probably less than that, you will see somebody rolling um, ADS ready, automated driving system ready truck off of the assembly line that you would be able to buy and then partner with the autonomous developer of your choice to operate that system in that truck as part of your fleet. And that's one of the big differences with Bot Auto is I'm not trying to sell to anybody. We're not trying to sell our trucks to the trucking industry. We're trucking as a service, transportation as a service. We are going to be the fleet owner and the technology developer, which simplifies things in a lot of ways, from liability questions to uh, ownership questions to partnerships, everything to economics. As the fleet owner and the technology owner, we're going to be a one-stop shop, and we'll go out and broker those loads and build those partnerships to have freight to carry.
And you mentioned earlier in that statement something about insurance. So you just twigged this question in my mind. This is the Trucking Risk and Insurance podcast. How are the insurers looking at you? And because, of course, they've got questions because they will have millions of dollars at stake should there be a crash. How do they view the whole industry and then specifically Bot Auto?
Well, I believe as an industry, they're excited about where we're going, about the potential safely. But again, I think it's a cautious optimism, right? I mean, again, they're
Yeah.
going to have millions of dollars riding on this, on these products and on this venture. And I'm sorry, Chris, we've got that something in. Somebody decided today was the day to use a jackhammer in the background. I don't know if you
Uh,
can hear it, but
nope, can't hear it.
um, okay, good. Uh, anyway, but the insurance companies are, they're cautiously optimistic with us and working well with us. We feel like um, as the technology matures and expands and commercializes and scales, that insurance companies are going to continue to see that we are safer than the standard model, and we're going to also, that's another way where we can lower cost per mile is by lowering insurance premiums, and so we've had great partners. I think everybody in the space has great partners in the insurance space, and we're just looking to continue to develop that and see where it goes.
This is, I really do believe humanless trucks will uh, develop into a much safer technology. I don't know if you saw it, and again, I'll reference Tesla. Uh, they released a study that shows the millions of miles that they've done in their full self driving is significantly safer. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it is significantly safer. And I'll add on to that. There was a story I read a number of years ago saying that once everything becomes autonomous, they anticipate eliminating 95% of crashes. Like, my God, the human lives that this whole thing is going to save, never mind the insurance premiums. And, you know, when I first thought of that, think of this, how disruptive it is because of the whole industry of the insurance industry, the rehab industry. Once a person does get hurt in a auto crash is going to be effective. The body shops are all going to be affected. It's such a disruptive technology in many more places than just truck drivers. Uh, it and I don't believe yet in my lifetime at least that we will have any shortage of work, but it's going to be disruptive.
I mean, sure. I agree with the point that we are a system disruptor, and I think that's a good thing. Just
Yeah.
particularly short term. I mean, you think about, like I said, we said the safety and the cost, and how many autonomous trucks and cars do we have to get out there before we start to tip the scale in safety? Because if we have a significant portion of the traffic operating in a safe, reliable, legal manner, does that influence other traffic around it? And I think yes, it does. Um, one of the big questions, and you kind of allude to it, is the downstream effect, the ripple effect, and that's what one of the things is we tell people every day, if you're a 21-year-old today and you want to be a truck driver, you can start a career and end a career as a truck driver. Where we hire a lot of good truck drivers at Bot Auto and other places. We still are in, we're always going to need truck drivers for last mile stuff or regional routes that we're not running autonomously. If we upgrade
Yeah.
our software and develop a new feature or refine a feature, we're going to put a driver in there and make sure we're going to validate that before we take a driver out. So we're always going to need drivers, even as an autonomous company, and we're generations away from, I think, taking the first trucking job, away from an American truck driver.
Yeah. So you see the future, if I can change the words a little bit, that almost immediately, and immediately being in the next 5 or so years, I'm thinking point to point highway driving. I live up here in Ontario, Canada. We pick up a lot of produce, obviously, from California. So that type of route can be done autonomously fairly soon. but the actual last mile delivery, I'll call it, is going to still require a driver for many, many more years. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everybody right now. I mean, I say everybody. We've got interesting. All of the Class 8 truck developers in autonomy right now are kind of operating on the same hub to hub model. That is, we'll have a hub. You talk about picking up produce in California, wherever that is. The Port of Los Angeles or Long Beach, and then bringing it to Toronto. And then we'll have a port in Toronto, right, or a hub in Toronto, and we'll drive from hub to hub. Now we need somebody to hook up to that trailer and take it to the final destination, or run the regional route where it's making multiple deliveries, where truck drivers are still going to be necessary, and they're still going to have good jobs, and they're going to have to and they're going to get to come home every night, which is a good thing. So we feel like it's going to be a net benefit to the labor market, in addition to the jobs that we're creating in technology. We need technicians, we need installers, we need people. We have jobs that weren't even contemplated 10 or 15 years ago, that we're creating, that we can reskill people into if they don't want to drive anymore. So again, we think we're going to be a huge net positive to the labor market in North America.
Well, every disruptive technology, as much as it changes things, it doesn't it I have yet to see it where it eliminates jobs overall. It eliminates one specific function maybe, but that person, it creates other jobs in the meantime. So, anyway, last word to you. We're just gonna need to wrap up. What haven't we talked about yet that you wanted our viewers to know about, specifically with Bot Auto?
I mean, I think ultimately the big thing is, what we want people to understand is that we're doing this the right way. We're doing this, although we're moving quickly, we're moving deliberately, we're taking all the appropriate safety measures. And we invite folks, we've done things like, on our website, we've published our safety case framework. So you can see the validation work we've done. We don't want people to take our word for it. I've said that several times, right? We've published a first responder interaction guide on our website. And I pass those out in hard copy all over Texas, and all over the U.S. to first responders. We don't want the first time a first responder interacts with a autonomous vehicle to be during an incident. We want them to understand what's coming. So again, I just want folks to understand that this really is life-changing, life-saving technology, and we're going to get it there as quickly as we can. But we're not going to take shortcuts, and we're not going to cut corners for safety in order to get to market. That when you see a bot auto truck with no driver, humanless operation on a highway near you in the future, it's been validated, it's been tested, and not just Bot Auto, but our partners at the Texas Department of Public Safety, and the Texas Department of Transportation, and Department of Motor Vehicles, and the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulation, and NHTSA have said, yeah, we've seen it. We've seen what they've done. And I don't expect them to put a stamp of approval on it, just because that's not what government does. But we will have had those conversations, and they will be comfortable before we do that.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Bart. I think it's a really exciting time to be in the transportation industry. So, hey,
Absolutely.
Bart, thanks so much for coming on the show and letting me know about the future of specifically Bot Auto, but autonomous trucks or humanless trucks. Um, it is the future. It's coming. We need to understand it and I think embrace it. There will be others who won't be so excited about it, but I am.
Well, we tell people all the time, Chris, autonomy is not coming. Autonomy is here. And so we need to find a way to efficiently and safely integrate it into the existing transportation ecosystem, and that's what we're doing. But we're not coming. We're here, and we're not going anywhere.
Well, thanks very much, Bart.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't go away now. I just hit end.